Readers, it's great to see you again. I miss you when I don't get to see you. So I'm excited to talk to you today about inferring. And before we get started, I want to make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil and a hard surface to write on. I also want to make sure that you have seen my read aloud video of Coming to America, a story of immigration. So if you haven't seen that video, I want you to stop and go watch my read aloud, and everyone else is getting something to write with. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, welcome back, powerful readers. Today, we, as I said, are going to be talking about inference. That's going to be our reading goal. But before we start doing that, readers always think, what do I know about this expository nonfiction book that I have already read? Think. When I think about what I know about this book, I know it's a story of immigrants, and I know that immigrants are people who came to the United States from somewhere else, and I know they came from lots of different countries. Most came by boat and went through Ellis Island. On Ellis Island, they were asked a bunch of different questions, and some were turned away because they were sick. I also know that most people came to find freedom, and some people found that freedom and others did not. Readers, we're going to be talking about inferences, which is our goal. Inferences are clues from the text plus what you already know equals an inference, what is not stated directly in the text. Readers, I would like for you to copy this chart below. It's just a box with a line down the middle and a line going across. This column says what I know from my own life, and this column says inference. So I'd like you to pause the video, and I would like you to draw that. Great. Okay, now I'm going to go and get the text that we're going to make inferences from. Okay, so this column says what the text says. I'm going to read the first quote, and then I will read you a bit of Coming to America, where this part of text is from. We'll talk about what you know about the text from your own life, and then an inference that you can make. Here we go. Instead of finding freedom, these Africans lost theirs, and most never returned to their homelands, so far away. Not all immigrants came to America because they wanted to. Beginning in 1619, millions of Africans were brought to the Americas against their will and forced into slavery. Instead of finding freedom, these Africans lost theirs, and most never returned to their homelands, so far away. Okay, powerful readers, here we go. This is the exciting part. We're going to think about what we know about this line of text from our own lives. Instead of finding freedom, these Africans lost theirs, and most never returned to their homelands, so far away. Think. What do you know about that line of text from your own life? turn and talk. Okay, readers, go ahead and write in the first box on your chart what you know about this line of text from your own life, and then write your inference about this line of text. Go ahead. Okay, great job, readers. So when I think about this text, and I think about what I know from this text from my own life, I'm thinking, well, I know something about freedom. I know that if I had freedom and then lost it, and if I were going somewhere and I thought I was going to get that freedom and I didn't get it, that it would be really, really hard. I think about this documentary, this true life film that I just saw about prisons and about people who lost their freedom in prisons and how hard that was for them. So I'm going to write, I know it's hard for people when they lose their freedom. Readers, I also know that these Africans didn't return to their homelands that were really far away. And I used to have a home in a different place where I grew up, and I miss it so much. So I'm going to write, I know that people miss their homes when they leave. Okay, now let's go back to the text and combine it with what I know from my own life to make an inference. So I know the text is talking about Africans. I know that they are coming to the United States and that they did not find their freedom. And I know that it's hard when you don't find your freedom. So I'm going to write, it was hard for Africans to come to the United States and not have freedom. Now, I also know that those Africans left their homelands, their homes that were really far away. And I know that when people are far away from their homes or they're not at their home anymore, that they miss them. So I'm going to combine those two, and I'm going to say the Africans missed their homeland. Okay, great. Let's look at the second line of text. I'm really excited to see what you infer from this one. Wealthy passengers were usually allowed to leave the ship right away. Okay, let me read you the part of the text that is from. As big passenger ships entered New York Harbor, the immigrants caught their first glimpse, a glimpse is a quick look, caught their first glimpse of what they hoped would be their new country. They saw the Statue of Liberty, a welcome and inspiring sight. The travelers were relieved that their journey was over, but they worried about what awaited them on Ellis Island. Inspectors from the island boarded the ships at anchor to check the passengers. Wealthy passengers were allowed to leave the ship right away. Okay, so I'm going to let you do this one first on your own. Wealthy passengers were usually allowed to leave the ship right away. Think, what do you know about this from your own life? And what inference can you make combining what the text says and what you know from your own life? Turn and talk. Okay, readers, go ahead and write down using the last two squares what you know about this from your own life and what inference you can make. Go ahead. Okay, great. Let's talk about it. So, wealthy passengers were usually allowed to leave the ship right away. Well, I know that wealthy means you have a lot of money, you're rich. And I know that they were allowed to leave the ship right away. So, I'm thinking, well, what do I know about that from my own life? Well, they got to leave the ship right away, but I know people who have a lot of money who were able to go to the front of the line because they bought a special ticket. This happened when I took my kids to an amusement park with roller coasters and rides, and there were people who were able to come and get in line first because they had more money than we did. And I thought that really was not fair. So I'm going to write, I know it's not fair when people with more money get special treatment. Okay, now that I know the text and I know what I have thought about what I know about the text from my own life, I get to make an inference, which is the fun part. Okay, so I know it's not fair when people with more money get special treatment, and I know that these passengers left the ship right away, which is like getting special treatment because they've got money. So I'm going to write, it was not fair that wealthy passengers got to leave the ship right away. Excellent job. Powerful readers make inferences. Inferences are clues from the text plus what we already know to tell what the author has not stated directly in the text. So this week for IDR, you're going to have the same type of chart that you filled out today, except you're going to be able to choose your own lines of text that you want to make inferences from your own books. So you can find that on OneDrive in your reading folder. And I cannot wait, powerful readers, to see what inferences you can make. Bye for now. I miss you.